Well, one of the things I never dreamed would be possible would be having someone so close to Mary Blair on our show. We were just absolutely thrilled and honored to talk with Maggie Richardson. What a sweet person. And I'm just so thrilled that she's working so hard to carry on Mary's legacy. This was a really wonderful, fun interview, right, Joe?
Yeah, I really love the work of Mary Blair, and you can see it from everything from movies that just came out, like Inside Out, to older things like The Contemporary with the mosaic and the was it The Canyon, right?
Yeah, she's just such a huge part of Disney history and very excited to learn. And you'll hear in this episode where I talked to Maggie a little bit about some hidden tributes to Mary Blair. And I'm hoping to go to Disney World and film a couple of those today. So if you are listening to this show and you have a moment when you get home from the gym or your car to look online, I should have some videos there for you to see in connection to this interview. It's very, very special, a wonderful memory. Love talking to Maggie. So without further ado, we'll start the show.
Hi, this is Mike Purcell, voice of the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover. As we approach the Tomorrowland Transit Authority station, our Grand Circle tour is coming to an end, but not to a stop because you're listening to the Living the Dream podcast with your hosts, Krista Joy from DisneyWays.com and Joe Pardo from HowToDream.co. Hold on tight because today's journey leads to tomorrow's dream. And get ready for the Living the Dream podcast.
Only the best Disney collectibles and other kinds of treasures, too. Barbies, toys, board games, Disney home decor, Mickey Mouse watches, and more are in stock for you at TD Collectibles. Inventory changes daily. They purchase Disney, too. Just email a list of your items and include your asking price. TD Collectibles, located just moments north of Walt Disney World on 535 in Winter Garden, Florida. Find them online at eBay, too. Username Snowball Bears, all one word. Call TD Collectibles today at 407 580 8757 or find them on Facebook at facebook.com/TD Collectibles.
Living the Dream podcast is your show.
And we want to hear from you.
Email us your magical Disney memory and we will read it on the show. It can be typed or send us an audio file.
If you include a photo, we will post your magical memory on the blog as well.
Our email address is thecrew@livingthedreampodcast.com. Today's magical memory comes from Kimberly Thompson. I have a million magical Disney memories, but I think the best one is when we visited Cinderella's royal table for my daughter's 5th birthday. There was an excitement about meeting all of the princesses, but Ariel was absolutely amazing. She was characteristically clueless to our human customs. She yelled loudly across the dining hall at the other princesses, clumsily bumped into people, picked up my daughter's clean fork, and began brushing her hair. She noticed my daughter wearing a Little Mermaid-themed dress and had a great conversation with her, even challenged her to a swimming race. My daughters left convinced that she was the real Ariel. Thank you so much for writing in, Kimberly, and if you have a magical memory, please make sure to send it to us at thecrew@livingthedreampodcast.com.
Mary Blair played a big role in the early days of Disney. If you've seen Cinderella or Alice in Wonderland or Peter Pan, you'll know Mary Blair's art. Many other artists worked on these films, but she had a special place in Walt Disney's heart. And today we have on the line for you Mary Blair's niece, who runs magicofmaryblair.com, a site dedicated to celebrating Mary's lifetime of imagination and color. Maggie Richardson, Joe, and I want to welcome you to Living the Dream podcast. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, I'm happy to be here with both of you. Thank you.
Yeah, so happy that you could join us today, Mary. And so
Maggie.
right out. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong script.
Maggie, you know what? That's okay. People say that a lot. it's okay. And thank you for announcing our website. Yeah, my sister and I started that, and it is just a tribute site for Mary. But we love getting mail from just all over the world, from people who who love Mary or even have a piece of her work and they weren't sure about it, and they'll send me an image, and it's so exciting to see her work all over the world, and in homes that love it. So.
Well, speaking of loving it, as recent as 2009's Pixar's Up and Disney's Tangled, both named Mary as a key influence for the design.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, where do you personally see that influence in those movies?
Well, in Up, where you can remember when they spread out the map and there's a South American piece with a camel, I believe, in Peru. That's definitely Mary Blair, right from one of her watercolors in Up, and of course the house, the little gingerbread house, Mary Blair style. Her house that she developed for the short film, Disney short film, The Little House. I mean, that's been kind of emulated in everything, but from MasterCard commercials to Up. No, Up usually the guys at Pixar are fantastic, and we love them. Pete Docter, Jonas Rivera, and they pay tribute to Mary in just about everything they do. They will take out of all of her artwork and look at it and study it, and then it will show up in different little spots that you have to look for. In the latest film, Inside Out, you familiar with that one?
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Yeah, the one well, my sister and I and my nephew, we're the Mary Blair family now. We're the ones that are left. We went to see it in the theater. Actually, we saw it in 3D, and it was exciting because there was Mary's influence on the conveyor belts with the flowered knobs and everything. That's totally Mary Blair. Mm-hmm. And then if you look closely, as you whiz by, you'll see on the wall a little image of a girl flying, and it says, "I Can Fly," which, of course, is Mary's children's book, which is still in print after over 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a given. So
amazing.
They do that. It really is. It's very exciting for us and fun, and it's like where's Waldo and where's Mary Blair, and so we pick her out, and then I hear it from other people too. Oh, did you see that there was a little part of Mary there? And
it's amazing. Her art is just timeless, and it's carrying on as recently as Inside Out. Amazing.
Yes, it is. Well, it is timeless, and it's something that, well, it makes people smile, and that's what we hear all the time. And boy, oh boy, if there's never been, it's great to smile, but especially these days, it's wonderful. We all need it. So
yes, well, that's for sure. And I know that her art made Walt smile as well. I know that he liked Norman Rockwell and Thomas Hart Benton, but her art is totally different. She's not a realist, yet she was one of his favorites by far. Why do you think Mary's art resonated so much with Walt Disney?
I think it was the colors, the feeling, and then, like everyone says, the colors, she didn't really develop her own style to the degree that she stayed with until that South American trip in 1941 with I think it was about 16 of the other Disney artists, and then she saw the colors of South America, the people, the terrain, costumes, everything, and just started painting, and just beautiful things came out. And I remember, a year when my sister and I and my mom and Mary's son, my cousin Donovan, Mary's older son, we all took a trip down. We had Donovan for the summer. We used to trade. Sometimes I would go back and spend a summer with Mary and Lee on Long Island, and then Donovan would come out here to Northern California and spend a summer with us. So the bus. In other words, my sister had just barely learned to drive, but I guess we didn't trust her to drive all the way down there, so we took the bus. And it was, gosh, I don't know, the year was probably 1959, 58. I'm not sure, but I was around 12. But anyway, we went down, and Mary had set it up. She said, well, you have to stop by and see Walt. Oh, really? Okay. So we were just, awestruck. All right, we definitely will do that. So we took the bus and went to the studio in Buena Vista, and he met us, took us into his office, and we had tomato juice, and we looked at all of the Academy Awards, and then he said, well, would you like to have lunch? So we all went into the commissary and had lunch, and just, sat and talked. I mean, I could barely speak, but I did ask him something like, what would you recommend for dessert? I remember this, and he said, well, I just love the cheesecake, so I ordered that. I told him that Snow White was my favorite film, and he said, I think that's mine too. I mean, he was just so sweet. But then he would tell us about Mary, and he said, he said, she just painted with the wildest colors. But then you would walk out sometimes and look at the sunset, and there would be those colors. So I think Mary made him get in touch with feelings and things that people just love. So there was a real connection, and that's how she painted, with feelings. So anyway, so he ended up, saying, well, have you been to Disneyland? No, we haven't yet. Oh, well, anyway, he ended up loaning us. He said, well, here's a car, and he gave my sister the keys. I remember it was a Ford Galaxy, and it had a Mickey Mouse license plate on it, and gave us directions, and off we went to Disneyland. And then he had prearranged for us to eat at the then was the Tahitian Terrace, which was brand new and is beautiful. So we saw everything, and my sister, we had a hair-raising drive on the freeway down to Anaheim, but it was great fun. And then back to the studio. So Walt Disney has, I think, always been in my life. Then it's because of my Aunt Mary Blair. So, but he was that was a great experience.
So you would just call him Walt, not Uncle Walt?
Everybody called him Walt. Oh no, not Uncle Walt. No. No, you weren't that. But he would send us, big things for Christmas and packages of cheeses and sausages to our families. And then one year I got a Cinderella watch, which I still have. In fact, I even had it working a few years ago when they had the Mary Blair exhibit in Tokyo. I thought, I want to wear that watch. I want to have that watch cleaned and all. And I did, and it worked for a couple of months, and it was fun to wear. So.
Well, I'm sure it'd be fun to wear even if it didn't work.
I was going to say, yeah, it's a great accent piece, and Mary gave it to me, and it was, and she had given me and a lot of things that somehow I didn't, when I was little, I didn't appreciate. I remember, you guys are too young, but when Mary did all the ads for the Metagold girls. Metagold ice cream, dairy products, milk, cottage cheese. They developed a Mary Blair, a Metagold girl doll. I call it a Mary Blair doll, but it was a big rag doll. It was about probably 3 feet long. It was pretty big, and it was dressed in pink and red felt and really cute. And she gave me one of those, which sat on my bed for many years, and finally got so beat up I tossed it. But things like that were. But fortunately, I didn't toss everything. So I do have, each of us have our Mary Blair treasures. So that are special.
So when Disney wanted an attraction for the 1964 and 65 World's Fair, he asked Mary to assist him in the design. Do you have
Hmm.
any memories about her talking about this?
Oh, yeah, because that was the year that I was just about ready to go away from home and go to UCLA as a freshman. So, and Mom and Dad said, "Oh, well, Mary's going there," because she would write back and forth from New York. At that time, they lived in New York, and she'd say, "Oh, Walt wants me to work on a new attraction, which will be at the World's Fair in New York. So I will be down in Los Angeles." So great. And so I was down in Los Angeles at UCLA at the same time that Mary was in Burbank working at WED on It's a Small World. And she was staying at the Tolucan Motel in Burbank. And so a lot of weekends I would go and spend the weekend with Mary at the hotel, at the motel. And I hear it's no longer there, I think. Or maybe I think it was Sorrentino's. We would a lot of times walk right across the street to a wonderful Italian restaurant, which I think is no longer there, called Sorrentino's. Or we would go over to Mark and Alice Davis's. Alice was a fantastic cook, and she would make a great dinner, and we would sit on the terrace and talk. And I thought, oh, wow, this is great. I mean, here I am, a freshman, away from home for the first time at UCLA, and then I'm with my Aunt Mary, which made me feel really, really comfortable and safe and excited that she was working on this project for Walt Disney, because we all knew Disneyland, and I grew up with the Mouseketeers and the Mickey Mouse Club, so I thought it was just great. And one time she had taken me over, or a lot of times we'd go by cab, or sometimes Harriet Burns, who was beautiful woman, just great. She would come and pick up Mary and drive her to WED in the morning, and she would drive us a lot of times. Mary did not like the 101 freeway, and I don't blame her for that. But she did not like it. But anyway, we would go over, and Harriet would drive us to WED. And one morning I went, and she showed me all around the model shop in WED, and took me all through a huge model of It's a Small World, and it was incredible. And she would have the lights on it, and I remember she would showed me a little gaggle of geese, or these little ducks, and so she would say, so Maggie, she said, I'm thinking that the ribbon should be either orange or green. And what do you think? And I was just, Mary was like that. She would just make people feel special. That made me feel so special. I don't remember what color I chose or what my advice was to her. I thought, wow. But anyway, she was like that. And then I met Rolly Crump, who she introduced as Roland Crump. Dan, I know he's Rolly now. And he's a terrific guy. I just spent the afternoon with him about 3 weeks ago. Rolly and his beautiful Marie. What a guy. I mean, he's 85 now, but still he looks fantastic. A wonderful, handsome man, and a real sweetheart. But I met him then, and he had just designed the tiki room. So we had all the birds and all. So that was a fun day. That was very special.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. Now, do you still
Yeah.
do you ever get a chance to go to Disneyland and float past the geese and look at their ribbons and
I know. I think they've changed them a little bit, but not that they. In fact, actually, they when they refurbished it, which after all these years they should have, and it turned out beautifully, but they actually gave my sister and me a piece of the old um, attraction, the old Small World ride, the original one. So I have one of the, the penguins that you see on
Hmm.
the ice floating. I
Yeah.
have one of the penguins, and my sister has a doll, and we loaned them to the museum, the Walt Disney Family Museum, for the exhibit in 2014. So that was a fun thing. But
Yeah.
yes, I love to go. And when we were in Tokyo for the exhibit in 2009, of course, we went to see the, you know, Disney, the Disney Resort, and went through the Small World ride there. So it just always makes me happy. I know that song. It kind of makes you crazy when you hear it all the time, but in a loving way. It's
Hmm.
like I even have it. I have it on my ringtone from my phone, so it still makes me smile. And then
Yeah.
I'll end up humming it the rest of the day. But
Well, and I wanted to ask you too if we can skip ahead a little bit. Can you talk to us more about her exhibit? I know you said it was only there about 6 months at the Walt Disney Family Museum, but that must have been a really special day dedicating that whole thing.
it was beautiful. We had the opening in March of 2014, and a big party, and all the guys from Pixar were there, and just a lot of people came up from Los Angeles and Don Hahn, and it was just a lot of wonderful people were there to pay tribute to Mary, and it was just very special, and the exhibition was very comprehensive. A lot of people, a lot of different donors um, collect Mary Blair and loan their art. And it went through, well, it was curated by John Canemaker. So he really he knows Mary Blair inside and out, even though he had never met her. He knows all about her and did a lot of research. And I even found things, and thanks to eBay, I'm turning up things that I didn't realize about Mary, and that was that I knew I loved the way she dressed, and I knew that she went to Lord and Taylor's, and sometimes she would send me things from Lord and Taylor, so I knew that she bought clothes from Lord and Taylor, Neiman Marcus, but actually she also designed a lot of her clothes, and I she didn't really talk about that very much, but I actually found that out from Rolly Crump just recently, who said when he visited New York, he visited Marion Lee, and she took him to show him the sights of New York, and they went to a place, he said, a big, tall, high-rise building in the middle of New York City, and went up to a small little office in a room, and she chose fabric for some dresses that she was designing, some outfits, and she gave them her designs and chose the fabric, and they were going to make them up. So she actually did design a lot of her clothes. And not only that, as I have found ads from New Yorker magazine on eBay, which I check about every third day, um, and I've gotten about 3 ads where she would design for someone named Beverly, can't think of the last name, but um, a design house in New York, and it was a Mary Blair design, and there would be an image of it and a drawing, and then one time there was a photo. So she had a very, very full creative life. She was always creating.
When Mary graduated from art school during the Depression,
Hmm.
it seems like it was very brave to pursue a career in fine art.
Hmm.
Beyond that, what other areas of her life would you say that she was, particularly brave in?
Well, actually, she had that on her mind and in her mind since she was a child. So I don't know if she ever considered any other field. I mean, my mom would tell us that Mary, she didn't have much money, and she managed to get her drawing supplies, and they managed to do food and Mary's drawing supplies, and it was kind of tight. She remembers that. But as far as any other, I mean, just the fact that she announced that she wanted to be an artist was pretty brave in those days because, well, especially girls and women, they were, it was pretty much, you're a teacher, you're a nurse, maybe a librarian, housewife for sure, but that was about it. That was what you could kind of expect to be encouraged to do.
I know some of the artists, and like you said, even Wall. I read a quote. One of the artists said she used two different shades of red right next to each other, and nobody did that
Uh-huh.
back then, And then Wall talking about the sunset, how you said that he looked at the sunset,
Exactly.
and hey,
No,
look,
she
there's.
would. In fact, when I first met Diane Disney Miller, Walt's daughter, I mean, one of the first things she said at lunch was she said, "You know, I think Mary Blair invented the combination of pink and orange." Yes, because she used it a lot. Of course, it was the '60s and mod, but wow, she used pink and orange from as far back as I can remember, and she also used pink and red a lot together. I remember when I was, little, admiring a French purse that she had, and it was done in a very soft, hot pink leather, which nobody even wore then. I don't know where she got it, but I just loved it. And her stationery was hot pink. Her letterhead that she had made, so her signature was a bright color, like I think the hot pink was her favorite color. But then her pink and orange combinations and the ponchos that she would wear and apparently designed were very, very bold, but very chic, very chic. I mean, she had her own style, but it wasn't funky. It was Mary Blair chic and with color.
Well, I wanted to ask you because I saw on your website the collaboration between the Pinup Couture clothing line
Oh
and
yes,
Mary Blair
yes.
art. So there's a little bit of clothing connection to this day, I guess. So can you tell us about
I
that a little
know,
bit?
and oh yeah, these women are very, they're terrific women. This isn't all. I mean, Mary would have just opened her arms to them. She would have loved them. They're an all women company, and they're located in Southern California in the Pasadena area. And in fact, they have a flagship store. I believe it's in Burbank though. But anyway, they wanted to do Mary Blair in their vintage line of skirts and dresses, which they have designed, and their idea was to bring glamour back, where women were, wearing skirts, little waists, and full skirts, and just pretty clothes. And the models that they offer them for all sizes, and they have all size models, and they are all beautiful. But the Mary Blair line came out, and actually they used a lot of the artwork from handkerchiefs that she had done in the 50s for, and they were sold exclusively at Lord and Taylor. So that was, but those designs, like you were saying earlier, they're timeless, and they sold so well that they're going to be doing another season of them. And the exciting news is, and I'm not sure, let's see, am I supposed to announce this yet? But they will be sold in the park in Disneyland.
Oh my
So
goodness. Well, this
I
this show will be
know.
coming out
Well, you have
November,
the scoop.
December.
You
So
have the scoop on that. So I think everything will be, because I had talked to Michelin just not long ago. She said that they hadn't chosen the designs that they wanted to be on sale there yet, but it's all in the works. And sometimes the wheels at Disney, they take a while, but it's all good, and they are probably even going to come out with a children's line. So that's just kind of a
wow.
scoop too.
Yeah,
So that will be that
absolutely.
is in the works. So
Oh, wonderful.
yeah, and they will announce that. But it's all good, and I love it when these young girls they love Mary Blair, and then the older people remember Mary Blair. So it it's across every age, and little children too. So I met one who when I was up in I went to the museum several times when the exhibit was on, because every time someone would come and visit, we'd go to the museum and see the Mary Blair exhibit. But I met someone who came up to me and she said, I just want to tell you that my son loves Mary Blair art, and he has his room decorated. He calls it his Berry Bear room. So that's that's probably her youngest fan. She said he was around, I think he was 3, but he had a Berry Bear room.
Oh,
Oh.
Isn't that cute? I know.
so cute.
So, Blair finished the 90-foot high mural at Disney's Contemporary Resort at Walt Disney World in Florida, which was
Mm-hmm.
completed for the resort's opening in 1971. It has
Mm-hmm.
it has 18,000 hand painted tiles and the famous
Right.
five-legged goat. Do you know why she added that goat?
Well, the word has it. I didn't hear it directly from her, but from other people, they say that it's to remind people that nothing is perfect, and that could be. I think it was just part of Mary's whimsy and quirkiness, and that's how she was. She would just do things that were just off the top of her head and just different, and that's just who she was. Her imagination just knew no bounds, and a five-legged goat was something she didn't think was that out of the ordinary in her world. It was fun, and she loved fun. She loved children. I mean, she would get on the floor and play with kids, and I saw that in her later years even, and she would just really enjoy them. And kids and animals. She loved her cats and her dogs. So,
Speaking of
oh,
dogs,
there's well, is that really timely?
hi dog.
You have a dog too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I think he saw his own shadow.
someone agrees with me
Yeah.
there. Yay, yay, Mary Blair. Woof, woof. I love it. That's,
Yeah, well, the mural is just it's an amazing, amazing thing. And it's one of those things that I really hope will make kids kind of look up from their phones, as they're visiting the
mhm.
contemporary for the first time, because it's just such a beautiful thing. 18,000 tiles, I think is what I read.
It is. It is, and
Unbelievable.
it's still there, and it's still beautiful. And I'm
Mhm.
so glad that it's still there. In fact, there's now apparently something I think it's called the California Grill, kind of decorated with a lot of Mary Blair art and the patterns,
Mhm.
the walls, the carpet. There's some photos of her. It's I haven't been there, but I've seen pictures of them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, I've got to go back. I'll take pictures while I'm there and send them to you. So,
oh, good. I
yes.
would really like that.
Yeah, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
do that for sure. But I love the five-legged goat, and I'm so glad you kind of confirmed what I always told people too. I think I heard the same thing, that it's just she wanted to just show that God's creation isn't always perfect, and here's an example.
No.
I love that,
Yeah,
it's part of her personality too.
it is. It's definitely her personality, and just to think that way was totally Mary. She didn't have to force it at all. It's just it's just who she was, and she was always thinking up funny little things, and she would write things in rhyme sometimes, and a little bit of poetry, and just funny little almost limerick type things, just little short things. But she had a very sort of elfish, cute sense of humor.
Well, next up, though, I wanted to ask you too, the CaliforniaWatercolor.com, that's a place where you can still get like copies of Mary's art and things like that. Is
Yes,
that
they
right?
have. Yeah, they have been around for a long time, about 30 years, and um, they offer giclées, which are the finest reproductions of artwork that today, and they produce their own, and the quality is excellent, and prices are good too. So you can see the brush strokes in their giclées. So they do a wonderful job, and they have they have some of Mary's, some of Lee's, and some of Preston's, and they have most of the early California watercolorists.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. And I know for a while there was a collection of Small World dolls that everybody could purchase. Is that something that's still
I
around, or were those
know
limited?
they're gone. I know a woman just wrote me on the website, and she said, "Do you by any chance sell them?" And we don't sell anything on our website. It's just strictly we try to provide links when there's a product or something of interest, and but we ourselves don't sell anything. And I said, I'm sorry, the dolls are all gone, and I agree with you that you can get one on eBay for about $100, but they're all gone as far as being able to buy them. I wish they would come out with them again because it was Christmas. Was it a couple of years ago? But it was about that time. Alice has the whole collection. They gave her the whole
Wow.
collection at her house. So, yeah,
Oh,
they
that's
were
so
cute
great.
when you'd press them, and they would. I mean, just the idea that they would sing "Small World" in English and then in their own language too. So it was great, I thought, for teaching kids at least a little bit of a different language, how to
Hmm.
sing "Small World" in Italian or French. I thought that was pretty good for little kids.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I I gave a lot of them away to friends of mine and their grandkids and things. So it was a nice thing. I hope they do it again.
Yeah, me too. Well, I am just so appreciative of you. Thank you so much for just,
Oh,
sharing the legacy and the life of Mary Blair. She's had such an influence on our culture and our history, and it's exciting to know that they're still kind of using her as an inspiration for even the modern time movies. I love the story you shared about Inside Out. But thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate you, Maggie.
oh, you're welcome. It was great talking to both of you.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Living the Dream podcast. We know there's a lot of great shows out there that you could be listening to, and we appreciate you taking the time to tune into ours. Remember to check us out online at livingthedreampodcast.com.
The greatest compliment you could give us is going to Stitcher Radio or iTunes and leaving us a rating and review. It helps us get the message out there to other dreamers.
It sure does. And until next time, I'm Krista Joy.
And I'm Joe Pardo. And remember, today's journey leads to tomorrow's dream.
If you can dream it, Mad Hatter Adventures can help make it happen. Mad Hatter Adventures specializes in everything from family trips, corporate travel, and last-minute getaways. Let Mad Hatter Adventures take the stress out of planning your trip and help save you money. There's no charge for their services, and they specialize in Disney vacations. Visit madhatteradv.com or give them a call at 1-844-M-HATTER today to find out more. Make all your travel dreams come true by calling 1-844-M-HATTER.